Welcome to the Milk Bottle e-commerce show, brought to you by Milk Bottle Labs, Ireland's top-rated and officially accredited Shopify and Klaviyo e-commerce experts. Founder Keith Matthews interviews e-commerce professionals, app developers and entrepreneurs to share as much digital knowledge and e-commerce tips and tricks as possible. This podcast is kindly supported by our go-to e-commerce tools, Rewind.io, the leading backup solution for Shopify, BigCommerce, Trello and more. Let's just say it's the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever get for your Shopify store and all your valuable data. Simply go to rewind.io/milk bottle to get your first month for free. Our go-to Shopify application to supercharge in-store pickup and local delivery on your Shopify store is Zapiet. It's fully customizable and scalable from one location to thousands. Backed by outstanding customer support, it's no wonder Zapiet is trusted by over 10,000 plus stores across 150 countries. Now over to your host, Keith Matthews.
Hey folks, welcome back. Today I am delighted to interview Kausambi Manjita. She is an award-winning founder and serial product builder with over 16 years experience in the tech industry. As the current CPO of Mason.io, Kausambi is spearheading the introduction of AI to stores worldwide with a view to generating sales. She's also a passionate customer evangelist. So let's listen to see how her AI-powered engine works, the logic behind AI, and successful use cases of AI live in the e-commerce industry. Kausambi, how are you?
I'm super happy and excited to be here today, more than anything else. And I'm good too. It's very warm. I'm in Bangalore right now. It's a little warm, but overall a pretty good day.
So it's 2:30 p.m. Irish time. So it's 7 p.m. with you. Mm-hmm. So apologies for easing into your evening.
It's a great way to spend your kind of ease into the weekend with a great conversation.
It is Friday. Kausambi, it's great to have you. I have been following your product for a while, and I'd say that you're sitting back with a smile on your face, considering that you were thinking of AI before ChatGPT was ever launched. So I'm intrigued by what you're going to say.
Well, you know what? For me, for a while, it has always been about how do we leverage technology, but to bring something meaningful for someone on the other side who's going to use that product, right? And very early on, my co-founder noticed that the kind of solutions, I would say, that we could add value to in retail could leverage data, could leverage machine learning, could actually do good with a lot of automation in place, and a great way to kind of reduce the decision fatigue that brand owners and founders have and e-commerce managers and marketers have, right? And online, it's tons of data. You have to kind of keep looking at it to take decisions on how to, sell to your customer, how to increase sell-through. But it's the information's changing every single second. And AI was a great, way to automate that decision making, to make decisions in a more intelligent way without missing out on data pockets, on patterns with human biases, right? And so that's how it started. But it was very interesting now that you say, Keith, because initially we didn't really want to say we are an AI company because, you go out to customers, they don't care. Like you're running a brand. Hey, you use AI, you use whatever. Like, what am I getting out of this, right? So that's the question. And for us, we never really wanted to kind of like hype. We learned it the hard way. I'm a second-time founder. My first startup didn't work out. So learned it the hard way that, no matter how much technology you throw at people, in the end, they're like, what do I get out of it? So we kept AI, no code, or automation, or ML, and all of that under the hood because we're like, we help you sell better, right? But it was very interesting that this year, as ChatGPT just took over, the world. Actually, now you have brand owners asking you, like, do you guys use AI? We're like, hey, yes, let's explain. So I do have a little bit of a smug smile. I agree.
Yeah, but you mentioned two really important points. I've said this quite a few times. I won't repeat myself in every episode, but the amount of data, even that a side hustle Shopify store is producing, data in Google Analytics, data in the Shopify dashboard, data across social channels, orders data in your email platform, Klaviyo or MailChimp, whatever email platform you're using. I actually think it's become physically impossible for some people to understand all of that data. Would you agree?
Yeah. It's quite crazy. And then there are signals also from what people don't do on your store, or what products they're not engaging with, or what are those things that people don't want to do on your store, right? So there's data, there's missing data that's giving you some insights, and then there's data that's giving you insights, right? So yeah, absolutely. I guess more in retail, but it's true everywhere else, right? I mean, end of the day, all of us are not data scientists. We don't see the art behind the numbers. And there's a lot of times when we are just lost in number crunching, when actually we should be thinking about what are the insights and now what do I do with the insights, right? Like, what's next? It reminds me, Keith, of this, like one of my favorite all-time movies, Finding Nemo. I just can't get over it. Like, I love that one. And there's this like part at the end when all the little fishies are like in their little packets of water, and they jump out of the aquarium and they are in the open sea, but they are still in their siloed little packets. And they're like all there, and they look at each other and they're like, now what? And I think that's what's happening with data today, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at all this siloed data and you're like, now what? So what you need is actually insights, and actionable insights, more importantly. So yeah, I totally agree with it. It's pretty crazy out there.
Your point about what people are not doing is actually interesting. People obsess about the products that people purchase, and then the experience after in a store after they make that purchase, getting the order to them as soon as they can, communicating with them. But you just mentioned something really interesting, which I haven't heard it very often, focusing on what people aren't doing. So if you have a busy e-commerce store and a product isn't selling, well, maybe there's some data there that you could actually use to actually maybe not stock that product again. Is that the kind of direction of travel that you're looking at in terms of e-commerce, and what people are not doing?
I'll give you another fun example. And it happened with a customer calls. I love getting into customer calls, by the way. And I think these 17 years have just flown by working in product, because it just goes by when you're like talking to people and you're listening to them, because there's so many interesting insights that come out if you listen and not talk. But there's this team. It's a pretty big brand. I don't want to name them because I didn't take their permission today. So I wasn't aware this conversation will come up. But they're a pretty well-known offline brand, now getting online over the last couple of years, and like the rest of the world. And, they're of course figuring out this whole e-commerce game. And, it's very different from running something on Amazon. It gives you your reports, and then you have your own D2C store, and you're like, wait, I don't just have my D2C store. I have like search and homepage and, PDPs and checkouts and list pages and collection. Like, there's a bunch happening in there. So it's not just like a very simple black box anymore, right? And they have this very interesting nav in your homepage, and a bunch of us too. Like, you introduce your new customers to your categories or subcategories on the homepage in a very nice and visual way, because they're home and furnishing, and specifically for them, it's a lot of stainless steel furnishing, right? So one of their subcategories happens to be home ladders, and it's a fast selling, like, people love that. They're well known in the home ladder space, but their problem was that nobody clicks on my homepage now. Like, what's happening? Why are people not clicking on my homepage now? Right? And the interesting thing over there, like, they just ignored it. They're like, they're doing tons of other optimization. And we realized, like, over that call, my quick question to them was, how are people searching for your ladders? And how do you present them on your homepage? And nobody knows what's a 3-step or a 4-step ladder. No, I can't visualize anything out of that. Like, even if I have an 8-step ladder, like, okay, sure, like, is a 5-step better? Like, I need to put something in my kitchen. Is 5-step the way to go, or 8-step?
Yeah.
And so just that fact of people are not clicking on something in the homepage. How are people searching for your ladders, right? What are the search terms that are not yielding any results? Right. And they changed, by the way. They analyzed, and people think about it as more as kitchen ladders or library ladders or like pantry ladders and stuff like that. And they changed their entire nav for the ladder category, and shoot up. People are really using and finding their ladders and buying more of it now. So yeah, that's an example of what's not happening in your store.
It's amazing the perception that some business owners have about their client. I often say that emotion takes over. Somebody probably decided that the navigation should be built a certain way, when in actual fact, it should be built on data, which is, again, it's all about, I suppose, time to analyze. And if you're using Hotjar, time to watch video, you know? So let's chat about Get Mason. With all of your experience, you mentioned 17 years. Eventually, you create Get Mason. So for the e-commerce store owner out there, what does Get Mason do?
Very simple. Our promise, and we've learned to distill it over the years. You know, a lot of times in technology, we overcomplicate what we do, right? We talk about headless or composable, or we talk about APIs and, webhooks and whatnot. But honestly speaking, what we do is very simple. As a brand owner, as a business owner, you need more sales. You need people to shop, your products. And we are a shopping engine. We sit on top of whatever store or platform you have, and we help you, one, understand your customers, the data or lack of it, right? And we give you actionable insights on what to do next. It could be something as simple as changing, for example, your nav, or something as complex as, hey, you need to have better frequently bought together algorithm, right? So we give you all these actionable insights within the product. And a lot of it is very simple for you to use. You can just click and get it out there. Some of it might need us to step in and help you out. But in the end, what it does is that it helps you get more people to shop. So our goal is to, connect the browse to buy journey. Today, it's all about how do I better understand my customers and get them to shop more on my stores. Over the next 5 years, we also see that as we learn, as the AI learns more, we're going to be hopefully help your customers shop better, no matter which channel you are on. So it could be Instagram and Facebook or TikTok or even Amazon. But today we are focused on helping you help your customers shop better in your store.
Okay, let's just hold that thought and we'll hear from our sponsors. Rewind.io is the leading data backup solution for your Shopify store. Did you know that there is no way of recovering lost data in Shopify? If your store is gaining traction, you may have multiple staff or third-party developers entering your store. Mistakes can happen and data can be easily deleted. Rewind.io puts you in control of your data, allowing you to restore anything accidentally lost from a single image to an entire store. It acts as a pretty cheap insurance policy for your Shopify account. At Milk Bottle, we help clients reduce their business risk by installing Rewind in every single store before we make any changes. Get your first month for free by simply replying to your sign-up email. Kausambi, you mentioned headless, okay, and you also mentioned AI, but is Get Mason, is that two different products that do two different things? Can you, I suppose, explain the differentiator between the two?
Yeah, and we just have one simple product. It's a platform. So there's the whole shopping engine. Mason is a shopping engine. That's it. Now, under the hood, of course, right, if you're talking about shopping today, there are different ways that you can get your customers to shop with you, right? When it's a new customer, it's a lot about, how can I help you discover products faster? How can I help you understand why you should buy my product over others that are out there? How can I showcase to you that this is not a brand new brand? We have had customers before, so we do have best-selling products or stuff like that, right? For a returning customer, it can be, hey, you left something in your cart, right? Can I drop an offer and maybe, excite you enough to buy this time, right? Can I show you not just this specific t-shirt you're looking at, but maybe the trouser and whatever else that goes with it, like the bundle, right? So there are different kinds of, I guess, micro apps, I would call them. So the entire platform has all these different apps. And they're all shopping apps. You get access to the entire platform depending on where your customers are not interacting or not shopping or dropping off in your store. A bunch of these things get recommended to you and you can use it and, see better returns. We've seen customers who've got, SMB segment actually double their revenue in just 6 weeks. And we've had, of course, more scaled out teams who've got 40 to 50% uplift in their total revenue and orders over 6 months.
And
right?
Kausambi, is that through something as simple as automated merchandising? Or is it when store owners have started to use your product, have they made fundamental changes to the store based on the insights that you're giving them? Or is that as a result of simple installs of your app that just begin to work the minute they have enough data gathered?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's where the question that you asked me about how headless and AI come into the picture, right? So it's headless because it actually connects to, let's say you're on top of Shopify. So, you just install it and it's there. You are on top of Woo or Magento. It's very easy for you to just get it connected over there. You store maybe a lot of your customer behavior data in GA, right?
Yeah.
Google Analytics.
Yeah.
One click, you connect it. And so it's not just your orders or your product data, but also your customer behavior data. Quickly, one click, you connect it. So that's where the headlessness of it comes, is essentially at the, under the hood, there's all these APIs and you can quickly, one click login, one click connect. If you have engineers and you have more complicated systems, you can actually get them to very easily use these APIs and open APIs and just connect, right? The AI comes in the more important part, I guess, the second more important part, which is one, all these different signals that you're getting, they need to lead to something, right? So the first question is, what is the decision that I need to take based on, again, all these different data signals that I'm getting? And then can I actually execute the decision? So for example, if I'm seeing that, there's a cohort of customers who are engaging with a product, but they're kind of like hovering over the price and they're not buying it and they're dropping off, will take, keeping the margins in of course, the sanctity of your margins of your product, will dropping a 10% off, get them to buy. So that decision making is also something that the AI helps, that the AI does, right?
So you, Kausambi, you actually have a solution for that, don't you? You have a price drop app that has the ability to drop the price based on that interaction. Isn't that right?
Absolutely, you nailed it. And so that's definitely one of the most, it's a very recent drop, but we see like great results with customers. And there's a lot of course, decision making based on different signals. And again, price drop is the interesting thing that I find about the price drop app and how we built out the algorithm behind it is that sometimes it's also about the intent, right? Like, let's say you're a late evening, you're on your phone over a weekend. You know what? Like impulse works, right? Where if it's a heavy weekday, no matter how much of impulse and like I'm dropping you are in the middle of a work day, right? There, it's more about trying to make you understand why you should buy it, remaining top of mind, right? So it's actually all these behavioral, insights the engine has been able to look at over the past couple of weeks and do better and better decision making. So yeah, price drop is one of the examples. So a bunch of these like sales engines, pricing engine, dynamic pricing engine, all of that, of course, also come into the picture.
And the data that you're using for that, let's say we have a Shopify store that's doing $500,000. The chances are that store has, 15 to up to 25 apps. We always recommend that people don't install apps unless they're really, really required. But are you plugged into as many of those apps as possible? Like, are you plugged into their analytics account? Are you plugged into their Klaviyo account? Like, what is the source of your data besides, obviously, the Shopify API, all of the Shopify information? Are you plugged into all of those other external sources for your AI engine then to make better decisions? Because obviously, the more data you have access to, the more sense that price drop suggestion will make.
Yeah, and yes, we do. We can. As I said, it's headless, so it can. But I'll also step back and remember I mentioned we help our customers, our merchants, understand their customers better, right? And a bunch of our discovery and engagement related apps actually come into it. So there's like quizzes, there's product finders, there's your welcome incentive. All of those, engagement or discovery apps also form a very integral part of understanding. So it's zero-party data. So yes, the information that there's third-party data, there's first-party data, which is essentially what's happening in your store, but there's also zero-party data that you are creating when you are deploying some of these, product finders or quizzes or stuff like that. And you are getting to understand your customer even more deeply. The beauty is that today you might be doing that. Maybe you have a spin the wheel, right? But you're not doing anything with that data. You're just collecting a phone number, right?
Yeah.
But imagine if you could utilize that information. Like how did the people react? Did the person click on a something versus something else that was there on the spindle wheel. So all that nudges and information that you get. Now imagine if you can package that and use it for a frequently bought together, or you can use it for a price drop. It just becomes such a more connected, better ecosystem where you are selling across your funnel better. So we, of course, we connect with Klaviyo or Google Analytics, as I mentioned, or your store. In fact, any kind of CDP that you might be using. For a little bit of scaled out teams, of course, they use their own CDPs. And we, as I said, we're headless, so you can connect it to the CDP. But you can also generate a lot of zero-party data.
So customer signs up, you're given the dashboard. So are they given the option? Do you alert them to say, here's maybe a frequently bought together bundle that might work better for this particular product? And do you give them the option to automatically push it? Or do you send them an email to say, here's some new suggestions? What is the customer experience from the dashboard point of view as to utilizing all of the decisions that you can potentially make and potentially push?
It's a great question. And you know what? That's also something that we learned over these last 3 years is on one side, I guess it's human behavior when you're first interacting with something new, right? Something that you have newly encountered. You want to understand, you want to feel a little bit more sense of control. And what we've seen is that usually, our new customers, our new merchants, right? They definitely want to have a little bit more control over the system, which means that, I want to know when, a price drop will be activated. I want to know when to activate a sale, like questions like that, right? So we have full control. You can literally do a bunch of these manually. Recommendations will come to you purely on you, whether you want to go live with it or not, right? But what we have also seen is that as they continue to use it and they see the value and they trust the system more, and that's human behavior again, we have had requests where, hey, I don't want to take this decision anymore. I know that decision's good. And so that's where our shopping engine, I guess the pure engine starts coming in. You just switch it on and you don't have to worry about it because it'll do, of course, based on your scope. Like you have to set your margins. That's very important. You don't want, your COGS to be impacted. So you do want to set like boundary conditions like that. But once you trust the system, it can actually run on its own too.
Great stuff. This is a great conversation. Is there anything that you want to say that you haven't said? Any particular area or any particular...
Actually, you've made me think about it, and goes back to, this conversation I was having with our team last week. One of as I said, I kind of manage the product team, right? And a bunch of product and product marketing and all of that work very closely with me. And, one of our sales team members actually was asking, like, why do we keep saying that? Hey, first we help you understand your customers and then sell. Like, why? Why is that core so important, right?
Can I ask a question then? So, Kausambi, is it correct to say then that your service involves a consultative sale? Like you're helping the customer get to know their own customers, but you have to get to know the customer before your solution makes sense?
That's actually a good question. And it's not necessary. Because what we have seen, of course, initially, yes, right? Because 3 years back when we started, when we first launched a version of our app on the Shopify App Store, we are learning with our customers. We are learning a lot from them, right? But the beauty of, the digital world is that, and especially when you add AI into the loop, the beauty is that the AI and the system and the engine starts learning too. So today what we've seen is that out of the box, when you or a BigCommerce or a Shopify customer actually just installs the product on their store, right? The first thing that happens is that the system knows, hey, this is a fashion. It's about doing this much of orders, maybe. I'm seeing these drops in the funnel. Like people are probably bouncing off the homepage. And I understand that over these last 3 years, I've seen that when something like this happens, these sort of playbooks and apps really help, right? So you can start seeing, the uplift and the impact and the ROI of having a shopping engine with you on your side from day one. But the shopping engine, of course, keeps getting smarter because it's your own shopping engine. And so over time, it keeps getting smarter and helps you do even better. But yes, it doesn't need to be that on day one, there has to be a ton of analysis before you can even find value. Yeah. There's a lot of learning that this AI brings.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's an application that helps improve store sales. There's only a small minority of apps that can actually stand over that, you know. Kausambi, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I really, really like the product. We'll put all of the links to your good self in the show notes. And listen, thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you for having me, and I look forward to coming back again.
Thanks for listening. All of our episodes are available on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. A special note of appreciation goes to our sponsors, Rewind.io, the leading backup solution for Shopify store owners. Get your first month of Rewind for free by simply responding to any welcome email once you sign up for your free trial on Rewind.io. If you're a Shopify user with an exciting story to tell, reach out to the team on podcast@milkbottlelabs.com. Until the next time, take care.